I'll now call our beloved brother, Shazam. He had some time to put his thoughts together while Imam was up here. So, Brother Shazam, he'll be addressing us for approximately 20 minutes. So, I'm a very serious timekeeper. I'll give him a signal when it's 5 minutes. At 15 minutes, I'll give him 5 minutes so he knows he has to make the final conclusion. And thereafter, then we'll move into our next speaker, and he will do a presentation of 20 minutes, and the two of them combined, we'll have the question and answer session with both of them, inshallah. Okay? This is the topic on the 21st century. How do we raise our children in the 21st century? All right? And he'll be dealing with special effects in technology with special reference to the youths. Of course, we're not too old to learn. I'm still learning, you know. I've got a cell phone. I'm still learning how to operate it, how to use it. So, Brother Shazam, 20 minutes at the podium, inshallah. I'll give you a signal, 5 minutes. 15 minutes, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So it's no surprise to anyone here to hear me make a statement that people are addicted to their phones. I'm sure everyone would agree that they know people, or they themselves, maybe us ourselves, are addicted to the phones. So that's not surprising. We see this every day. What may be surprising to some is that this addiction is not by accident. The phones are designed to addict you to them. That's how they are. I mean, a simple example is, I'm sure every one of us, at some point or the other, either for ourselves or for our families, we see someone up late at night and they're on their phone. And you say to them, so why are you on your phone so late? And their answer to you is, well, I can't sleep, so I'm on my phone. Not realizing that the reason they can't sleep is because they're on their phone. You know, the phone is designed in such a way to emit blue LED lights. And the photoreceptors in your eyes are designed so that when blue light enters them, it suppresses the production of melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone that the body uses to regulate sleep cycles, regulate blood pressure. So when you have this blue light coming into your eyes at all hours of the night, you can't sleep. Your body is under the impression that it's daytime. So your regular circadian rhythms, your regular sleep cycles, it doesn't work. Your body has convinced itself that it's not time to sleep yet. As a result, you can't sleep. So what do? You perpetuate it and you stay on your phone even more, because I can't sleep. There is an advocacy group called Time Well Spent. This is an advocacy group made up of current and former employees of Google, Apple, and Facebook. They're called Time Well Spent. And they have been advocating to their own companies and to the population at large of the dangers of cell phones. They have come out with their statements and they have said, you know what? We work in this business. This is what we do. We're the software designers. We're the hardware designers. We are telling you that the phones are designed specifically to make you addicted to them. They have teams of psychologists with them in their drawing board rooms, designing such a way that the phones are going to be addictive. What can we use to psychologically manipulate the user to make sure they stay on their phone for as long as possible? Because obviously, the longer you stay on the phone, more advertising revenue they get, more revenue of whatever sort. It's directly proportional to how long you are on your phone. How long your eyeball is in that phone, that's specifically what they're looking for, so they'll know that they've caught you. And once they've caught you, you're a constant money stream for them. So they do everything they can to make you addicted to it. And I'll read specifically what they have said. They said in designing software, they're specifically trying to expose people's psychological vulnerabilities by giving them variable rewards. And we see this. You have a picture on Facebook, your brain is telling you, I need to get as many likes as possible, as many views as possible for my video. I'm playing a video game or a game on my phone. They're giving you these silly rewards like you up a level or you up a power or something that's insignificant. At the end of the day, it means nothing. But your brain feels that you're getting some reward. Your brain feels that you're getting something, and they design it this way to manipulate you, to keep you attached to your phone. And to speak another statement they've made, the way it is designed, I mean, again, these are the ones who designed them. The way it is designed is that they designed to give customers what they want while simultaneously inflicting collateral damage. And they have likened it, and again, these are people who work in this business, who do this for a living. They have likened it to big tobacco. You know, big tobacco, they have this product, and they sold it to the masses, and the masses got addicted. And then when the news came to them that this is actually harmful to the population, what did they do? They hid it. They didn't want to cut off their revenue source, so they hid it. So now what this Time Well Spent advocacy group is saying is that we're at a crossroads right now where it's up to the software companies to decide, are we going to do what big tobacco did, or are we going to step back and actually do what's best for the population? And actually recently they had a meeting with Larry Page himself. So hopefully it may get somewhere, but at the end of the day, they have pretty much acknowledged that what they're asking these companies to do is reduce their revenue. And surely we can expect that may not happen. So they've also likened this phone addiction to a form of hypnotism. So they themselves, when they're at work at Google and Apple and Facebook, they do not have their phones on them. They have made that a rule among themselves. If you work for this company, you do not have your phone on you, because we know it's bad for productivity, we know it's going to mess with your mind, and we need you at peak performance. So if they're working in this company, and they are told by their bosses, do not bring your phone with you because we know it's not good for productivity, what about us, who are the users, who are on our phone all day, at work, at home, at school? We're just the users, we're just the ones who are being manipulated. And we need to wisen up, and we need to realize that this is something that's real. Going forward, they gave us 3 specific things we can do practically to try to ensure that we are not victims of this addiction. The first thing they say, when you put your phone down, put it face down. When your phone is face up, every little notification you get, every little light that blinks, every little screen movement, it attracts your attention and you run to your phone. I mean, does the phone work for us, or do we work for the phone? The phone is our property, not the other way around. So, first thing they say, put your phone upside down, face down, when you put it. Secondly, they say, turn notifications off. All this vibrating, all this buzzing, all this little bells and beeps that you hear every time you get a like, or an email, or a text, they say, take that notifications off. Go to the phone on your own time. Don't let the phone dictate when you use it. Because that's all they want. The more you open your phone, the more you use it, that's better for them. Don't be a pawn. And the third thing they say is, I mentioned the blue LED light affecting melatonin production. There are lots of apps that have this blue light filter. I mean, I'm not rooting, actually promoting any app per se, but there are lots of them on the App Store. And they're specifically designed to filter out the blue light so that it doesn't affect your eyes, it doesn't affect your hormone production anyway. And this is actually something that we all should do, because after at 10 o'clock at night, you've gotten off your phone, you still can't sleep for another 2 hours. Because your body is now going to start thinking it's night and start preparing for sleep, when it should have been doing that a while ago. But filtering this blue light actually makes it easier for your body to fall asleep. So that is something I'm sure all of us can relate to, and it's something all of us should try to apply. So the Boston University School of Medicine, they actually released a study just a few months ago. And they looked at high school and college students, this new generation. And what they found is that kids who grew up spending time on cell phones and apps, on tablets, they found it proportionally directed to how they do in math and science. And it's directly proportional. So the longer a kid spent on an app, on a phone, growing up, as their form of entertainment, as their form of keeping them quiet, that the parents do, the less likely it is that they will be able to succeed in math and science. And this is a no-brainer, isn't it? Because for math and science, you need to think critically. You need to apply yourself. You need to pay attention. You need to be patient. And what these apps do, and what these games do, and what social media does, it creates this desire for instant gratification. Kids do not have, and adults do not have that capacity anymore to sit and read a book. Because they don't have the concentration anymore, because they've grown up on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. They can't do it anymore, and it's not something that you can just turn on and turn off. There are different parts of the brain that are activated when someone reads and concentrates and thinks, as opposed to when you're looking at flashing lights on a phone. You know, it's like watching fireworks all day as opposed to watching a dark room. Your brain's, different parts of your brain are being activated. So when you've spent all your childhood activating the part of your brain that deals with flashing lights and moving imagery all day long, your brain, the part of your brain that has to do with reading and cognition and comprehension is not developed. It's just not developed. And when you become an adult or a teenager or a young adult getting into the workforce or in college, your brain is not able to function at the level you need it to. Because it's not grown in that way. You can't just decide, well, okay, today I'm going to start concentrating. Your brain has spent all your formative years training itself not to be able to do this. Which is why now you have all these young people with ADHD and learning disabilities and whatnot. Because why? When they were younger, the parts of their brain that they needed to develop to learn was not developed. I mean, all of us went to school, most of us here, I'm sure, are from other countries. So we went to school in a different environment than what goes on here. If I ask everyone, what did you learn in school, in primary school, in secondary school? Many of us would have to think, I don't remember what I learned. Because what you learned actually wasn't important. What is important is that you learned how to learn. You were taught how to learn, how to process information, how to think for yourself, how to think critically, how to think on your feet, how to make decisions, how to form hypotheses and prove them or disprove them. That's the process of learning is what you were taught. And it is important because if you don't have this, you can't function in the real world. And now we see lots of kids coming out of high school and college functionally illiterate. They have degrees, they have masters, but throw them out into the real world and they can't function because their brain didn't teach them, or we, as we raised them, didn't raise them in a way that their brains were able to develop the capacity to learn, to think on their feet, to comprehend. Reading comprehension is something that's being lost. Because why? Because we see a post on Facebook, a post on Twitter, and that's the extent of the knowledge that people have these days. That's all they're willing to read. You know, when they first formed Twitter, 140 characters, that's the maximum they gave. They didn't just pick this at random. They did studies to see what would, anything more, basically their research was that anything more than 150 or more characters, people wouldn't read it because they would think it's too long. Compare that to us when we were in school, we had to read long books, didn't we? And we were better for it. Now we can sit and we can read because our brain was trained to do that when we were younger. Today, with all the cell phones and tablets that the kids are addicted to, they won't be able to do that. In 10, 20 years, they will not be able to function in the job market. They will suffer in college. They will have a hard time because their brains are not able to do it. And that is something we as parents, you know, protect yourself and your family from the fire, yeah, but we also have to protect ourselves and our families from the dangers that we have right here in dunya. This is a danger that we need to be aware of. And it is difficult here, isn't it? I mean, we're back in another country, the kids want to play, go run around the yard, climb a tree. It's difficult here. Here we live enclosed all year long, basically. But you have to find ways to do this. You have to find ways to engage your child's mind by reading to them, by letting them read with you. Take off the TV when you're watching, when you're having dinner. These are things that you are unwittingly, whether you realize it or not, are addicting the child to things that are harmful to them. Just as this advocacy group I mentioned, they talked about liking in the situation to big tobacco. You're not going to give your kids tobacco, are you? You're not. You don't want them to get addicted because you know it's going to harm them. Yet this thing, we willingly addict them to technology, to cell phones, to apps. And the harm it's doing to them, it's immeasurable. Just do a quick search online and you'll find so many studies by universities, by prestigious professors who have done this in depth. It is not something to be put in the back of our mind and we think about another day. It's happening right now and we need to deal with it. And UCLA also had a study regarding this and they found that as opposed to the parts of the brain that have to do with, like I said, flashing lights and dealing with stress and that kind of thing. This part of the brain is what's activated when you're watching these apps. And as such, when the kids get older, and I mentioned this already, but I have to reiterate it, they cannot function. All they need flashing lights. They need bright lights and they need noise because that's all the brain can handle. That's all the brain has been trained to handle. You put them in a quiet room and they're fidgety. They're scratching, they're running, they're bouncing off the walls. We don't do that because we were trained differently when we were in school. So our kids, we need to try to learn the lessons from our childhood and see how it benefited us and try as best as we can to apply it in our children's lives. And the UCLA gave some specific guidelines of how we can try to ensure that our children do not fall into the same trap that these young adults today are falling into. They say, first of all, and this is a no-brainer again, parents have to take an active role in their kids' learning. You can't just say it's a school's problem, and then when the kid comes home, you get some learning app and put them in the corner. Can't work. It will not work. These things are designed to be addictive. Remember that. They're not doing it for your benefit. They're not doing it to help you because they like you. They're doing it to make money. And if addicting you to it is going to make them money, that's what they're going to do. And that is what they are doing. Secondly, they say, you need to spend time face-to-face with your kids. Face-to-face. We go into people's houses and the dad is in the corner on his iPad, the mother's on her phone, the kid's watching TV, and they're all sitting on the same sofa. No one's talking to each other. This is a tragedy. This is a tragedy, is it not? If our grandparents and great-grandparents saw how our families like this, they would smack all of us. This is not how families are to be raised. They say, recommend, and they're basically saying it's a must. You have to spend face-to-face time. Talk to them. How was your day? What did you do today? What did the teacher say? How was the bus ride? Tell me, talk, engage them. Because if they don't talk to you, they're going to talk to somebody else, and that's a whole other topic. Now they're saying children between the ages of 3 and 12, they need 3 to 4 hours a day of actual physical play. Not playing on an app, not playing on an iPhone, not playing Candy Crush or some other nonsense. Actual physical play. You know, rough and tumble play like we used to have, right? Like we know that we used to have when we were kids. Hug them, run around with them, jump, do that. Get this out of their system. Because if this energy is not channeled into actual physical activity, it's going to be channeled into mental activity. And all that's going to just feed into this addiction to online and technology that we're trying to break our children from. Thirdly, they say spend 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day maximum watching TV. Not put the kid on TV from 5 o'clock when they come home till 10 o'clock when they go to sleep. 2 hours maximum. And a lot of studies say even less than that. But this study from UCLA says 2 hours maximum TV. And obviously not soap opera TV. Try to have something beneficial to them if they're watching. And they need to relax, obviously. And if that's a form of relaxation for them that you are able to provide because you don't have any other thing, don't let it exceed 2 hours. They're really stringent on this recommendation. And something I just mentioned as well, have meals together. Try to find a way. The schedules working in New York, it's so hard, I know. I myself have missed so many meals with my family because of work. But we have to make an effort. Try to have meals with your family. Because you know what? What your child learns from you, how you deal with your spouse, is how they're going to grow up and deal with their spouse. How they see their family growing up is how they're going to grow up and treat their family. Ask yourself, do you like that your family don't talk to each other? And they sit in the same room and we have nothing to say to each other? Well, that's what your child is going to learn, as that's how family should be. So when they grow up, that's the same family they're going to have. And it's going to be worse. How we want our families to be and how we want our children's families to be, we need to show them by talking to each other, by showing love to each other. One of the great psychologists, he said, the greatest gift parents can give their child is to love each other. Show the kid your relationship with your spouse. They will see that that's what's important. Because if they see you on the phone all day, on the tablet all day, they're going to say, well, I guess that's the way things are. That's the way things should be. And it's going to reinforce in them that I'm doing the right thing by being on the phone all day. We need to be aware of the example we set for them in all aspects of our life. In particular, aspects that we see can be harmful to them now and in the future. And they recommend this one as well. They say, no technology in the bedroom. Don't have a TV in the bedroom, and God forbid don't have them have their own TV in the bedroom. You're just asking for trouble. No phones in the bedroom, no tablets in the bedroom. The bedroom should be off limits. That's what they're saying. Now, of course, living arrangements being what they are, that may not be practical for every single person. But the gist of it is clear. There are specific times, compartmentalized times for everything. And phones and iPhones and TV should not overlace every aspect of your life. They should be a part if you need it to be, but just a part, not the entire thing. And the last point I want to make is regarding saving yourself and your family from the fire. I'll make the analogy of the Secret Service. The Secret Service's job is to protect the president, right? Our job is to protect our families. So let's take an example from them. How do they protect the president? The president doesn't go anywhere unless they have gone and checked it out first. The president doesn't meet anyone except that they have gone and already checked out this person or met them themselves. You have to be proactive, not reactive. There's a brother who we know, I have 2 minutes, I'm not going to get to it, but people come and they say, my kid went to swimming lessons, I dropped them off, and then so-and-so happened. But did you go check out the swimming classes first? Did you check the co-ed bathrooms? Did you check what's going on? No. So how are you going to come now and say, so-and-so happened, when you didn't take the preventative measures to ensure that the kids would be safe? This is an example right here with technology where we have to make the effort to be ahead of the game. And it's not easy. It's not easy. And to that end, the Bronx Islamic Society has a few programs planned. One such program is an adult training session on social media. So I'm sure everyone here has heard Snapchat, Twitter, Tumblr. And we think, I have no idea what it is. Kids use it. I don't know. Well, there's a training session being planned right here at BIS to educate and teach adults on what these things are, how to use them, and how to see the signs of their abuse in your children. So inshallah, coming up soon, that's something BIS has planned as relates to this topic. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Jazakallah. Thank you very much, our beloved brother Shazam. Wonderful presentation, Shazam Mohamed.